G'day there guys, no regrets, not even one letter, no. It's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and have a bloody good time. Thank you. Posted by user BusinessCautious5392. Titled, Am I the a-hole for requiring my sister to sign a legally binding contract before I loan her money? I, 42 female, have a successful career and inherited a decent amount of money from my late husband. I'm nowhere close to being a millionaire, but it's enough so that, as long as I'm smart with the money, to only work because I want to by the time I hit 45. That's including any college expenses my two children may have in the future, so long as they go to a state college. Family knows that I have money, and while I don't mind giving a couple $100 here and there, because I know I most likely won't get it back, I draw the line at anything $400 plus. They know this, but that still doesn't stop them from trying, and I've always stayed firm on this. Well, once the pandemic hit, my brother-in-law, 35 male, lost his job, and my sister's, 37 female, job has reduced her hours until further notice. 2 weeks ago, I got a call from my mother asking if I could come over. I had no problem with this and swung by the next day and found my sister already there, and I could tell she had been crying. Based on the title, you all know where this is going. So with me, her, and both of our parents there, my sister informed me that even though her job was expected to go back to regular work hours in early 2021, there was a rumor that they would also be downsizing. She wasn't sure if her job would be secure, and brother-in-law hasn't found any luck in getting a new job yet. I knew what they wanted and tried to play dumb at first, and offered to help find brother-in-law and sister jobs. My sister said that that was very generous of me, and she would take the offer, but in the meantime, what they really needed was a loan. My sister asked for at least $40,000 to help with paying off their credit card, manage the mortgage, make payments toward their student loans again, and still have some money left over in case the worst happened. I was quick to tell them that they were asking a lot from me, that while I did have some money, I didn't just have $40,000 laying around to give out on a whim. I told them I'd have to check my finances and think about it. After 2 days, I started getting inquiring texts from my parents and sister and told them that I was busy this week and that I'd let them know over the weekend. I checked the numbers and it was cutting it a little close, but it was doable. However, I didn't like the idea of just giving the money away without any reassurances that I'd get it back. I drew up a rough draft of a contract and emailed it to my sister, stating that I was willing to give her money after she signed the final draft, and that the money would have to be given in 3 separate installments. My family was furious, and said that as the older sister, it was my duty to look out for my sister in her time of need, and to make her sign a contract was offensive. I countered with that since my sister has never paid me back whenever I loaned her money since the day that I married my husband, I think this was more than fair. Everyone is still angry with me, so I just wanted a more neutral perspective. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Wow, stepped away for a bit, and I wanted to say thanks for the support. Also, I keep seeing a few of the same questions pop up, so I'm going to clarify and mention a couple of things. 1. My sister and her husband can't get a loan from the bank, or at least not much, because their credit isn't the best right now. 2. To my sister and brother-in-law's credits, they did have some savings, but are burning through it, since my brother-in-law is currently out of work, and my sister doesn't work enough hours right now. Also, they have kids. 3. After I got married, my sister started making little jokes that, compared to what my husband makes, what's a few couple dollars to family every now and then? Over the years, I gave my sister at least $2,500 that she never paid back, and I just stopped counting after a while because it would get me upset. I just made it a habit to stop giving her money. Although I would still pay whenever we went out to restaurants, the movies, or the spa. Edit 2. Okay, had to step away again for personal stuff, and when I checked, I saw even more responses, all talking about how I would collect my money if my sister either refused or couldn't pay me back. I left that part out because I wanted to focus on just the idea of the contract itself, rather than the technicality part. As previously stated, I emailed my sister a rough draft of the contract and was planning on having it notarized so that it was official. But as collateral, I would have ownership of her and my brother-in-law's cars if they couldn't pay. Hope that clears a few things up. This is such a dicey situation, and it goes to show that your sister, and then by proxy, your family views you as nothing but a piggy bank that should be willing to bend to the knee to pay for them all the time and bail them out. I can understand why you would go as far as to give $2,500 plus to them, because yes, there are times that people genuinely need that money and genuinely can't work themselves out of the holes they've dug. But I'm willing to bet this is not one of those times. I'm willing to bet that your sister pressured you into dropping that much money on her previously, and then used that precedent to bully you into giving her more, and then bawling that she has no money whenever she can or should pay for something herself. Just because life's hard on them right now, it doesn't have to be your responsibility to bail them out. She's set the precedent of not paying you back in the past. What's to stop her from doing the same in the future? And yeah, the alternative in this situation is potentially letting them go bankrupt and destroying them financially for a long time to come. You could have chosen to step in and help, and you didn't if that happens. This really sucks, but in the end, you're not the a-hole for requiring them to sign a contract for that money. That's an outrageous amount, and I would absolutely do my due diligence with it. So yeah, not the a-hole. Now in the comments, MM18600 says, not the a-hole, but don't do it. Don't lend money you can't afford to lose. Even with a legally binding contract, if your sister doesn't have any money, who are you going to sue to get it back from? It doesn't sound like you're comfortable losing this amount of money, which realistically, you probably will. Not the a-hole. Never mix money and family. That's what a real bank is for. Sister has bad credit right now. Let that be a big waving red flag on why you shouldn't lend her that kind of money. Also, if she doesn't want to sign the contract, then I doubt she intends on giving the money back. And if she does, how does OP expect her family to react if and when she tries to enforce it? If OP demands the cash or seizes the cars, she'll face righteous condemnation from her family as a greedy, heartless person who couldn't even wait another few months or years for struggling family members to pay her back. Or worse, for not just helping out by forgiving a loan that she could easily afford. If everyone's angry at her now for not giving it contract-free, just imagine how furious they'll be for trying to take it back. To quote Shakespeare, neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend or family. Here's a thought that struck my mind after the last edit. If the sister's cars are worth about $40,000, seeing as they are collateral and the sister is that strapped for cash, why doesn't she sell the cars? Brother-in-law doesn't need one because he doesn't work. Or if they both need the cars, they can sell them both for $40,000 and buy two $5,000 cars that will last a bit. Bam! That's $30,000 in the bank. But this is just a cash grab from the sister. She can get stuffed, I would say. Oh, there you go, making sense. Brother-in-law could absolutely find a job. Maybe not a job that he likes or pays that well, but yeah. Not the a-hole. Even with a signed contract, you may never see that money again. In fact, I very much doubt you will. Why, you ask? They want to use part of that money to pay off CC, which tells me they were living beyond their means. And the fact that they need a $40,000 loan to handle stuff like mortgage tells me they have no emergency fund in place. Two likely outcomes if you loan her the money, even if she signs a contract. 1. She doesn't repay and you have to take her to court. She doesn't repay and she files for bankruptcy. Either way, you will never see that money again. You really need to think about a few hundred here and there. If that happens often, That adds up too. Also, the third thing to consider, this sets a precedent. If she asks for this much money now, she and the rest of the family will start asking for more and more money, stating, well, you gave her 40k, and all I'm asking for is 10k, etc., etc. It will never end. And now on to the update. Thanks to all the wonderful and helpful comments. I won't lie, familial pressure and guilt was getting to me a little because I realize how fortunate I am. I also wanted to apologize for downplaying my socioeconomic status. I just have been living beneath my means for so long, I sometimes forget how fortunate I truly am. I just wanted to show my children the importance of being financially responsible and rarely ever splurged. In the end, I contacted my sister and brother-in-law for a sit-down. Public, so they couldn't cause too much of a scene, but private enough so we could vaguely discuss sensitive information, plus there was the social distancing. I simply did a basic laydown of the situation. I told them that I needed them to hear everything I had to say first, and if they interrupted me, I would walk away and not lend them a cent. First, I told them that it's good to help family when you can, but couldn't give them $40,000. I'm able to offer them $3,200 a month for at least 6 months. I told them that I simply can't afford any more without it affecting my kids, and that I'm a mother before I'm a sister or daughter. I also told them that I can't afford to bail them out every time they're in trouble, and that since the future is so uncertain, I may not always have the means to care for others. My money is going to have strings attached, and if they didn't like it, they could go somewhere else. I made it clear that I wasn't going to do this to be mean or controlling, but I want to help my sister help herself. The rules were, A, the money would be deposited in a new joint bank account with one authorized signer. B, my sister and brother-in-law were going to meet with a financial advisor, which I would pay for. C, since neither of them are working, it doesn't make sense to have 2 cars. So I expected them to sell one of them, and then our parents can lend my sister or brother-in-law use of one of their cars when they need it. And D, before they can get their first payments, they will be having their meeting with the financial advisor, and I will be in the meeting just so I know how they went. I made it very clear that this is the best that I could give them. They looked upset, but I told them that beggars can't be choosers. They said they'd think about it. I knew that my sister was going to cry to our parents, so I called them as soon as I got in the car and told them everything. I said I'm not changing my mind, and that if they feel that my sister needs more than what I'm offering, they're more than happy to downsize and sell their own home or take out money from their own retirement and SSI, since family helps family. If there's an update, I'll put here as an edit. Edit for info. I keep seeing this, so just so we're clear, the $3,200 a month is going to be a gift, and I told them that. I don't expect to ever see that money again, but I'm never going to give my sister and brother-in-law another cent after this, and I'm prepared to go low contact, no contact with her over this. I know my parents will never go low contact, no contact with me, because I'm their first choice when it comes to taking care of them when they get too old to take care of themselves. Edit for info too. Forgot to mention that I don't really want sister and brother-in-law to sell one of the cars. It's just my way of putting pressure on brother-in-law to get a job, any job. He has a master's and was making, I think, around $75,000 at minimum, and now he wants a job in the same field, making the same amount or more. If we weren't in a pandemic and he didn't have so much debt, I'd understand him wanting to hold out for something better. But right now, you gotta do what you gotta do. Quote, since family helps family. Bravo, clap, clap, clap. This is how it's done. Your sister will hopefully realize that your money comes with a string that can be pulled, and you are not just an ATM for them. They want to treat you like a bank, so now you can act like a bank and give them rules to follow. Good on you for cutting them off at the pass and breaking the news to your parents, and shutting up your own parents who would make excuses for them. Your parents are free to give your sister money if they feel so strongly, not the a-hole. Exactly. OP is very brave and 100% not the a-hole. OP's sister should be very grateful. OP could have given her nothing, yet OP still tried. They seem like a great person. Good for you. Just because you can help them now doesn't mean 6 months or a year from now you'll still be able to. If they can't understand that, I'd give them less than $3,200 a month. I was initially going to give them $4,000, but decided it should be less than that. You have a very giving heart. You are truly trying to help your sister. She is. Offering to pay for a financial advisor so they learn to manage their money better is so generous as well. You are a very generous person. OBS, if they both got a job tomorrow, 2 cars make sense, so perhaps that's the motivation they need. Add in a supplement of $3,200 and they can really get ahead that first year on the job. If they live in an area with decent public transit, 2 cars may be completely unnecessary anyway. In my city, a lot of people have cars, but it's really unnecessary. Posted by user KingKasma21. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my older sister that she is not a stay-at-home mother? Because of the character limits, I'll try to make it brief. My 17 male, older sister, 26 female, has been married for 3 years now, and she and her husband, 28 male, have a 2-year-old son. A few days ago, she came back to our parents' home and she told us that she had a fight with her husband and if she could stay with us a few days. She and her husband had a fight. She told us that she believed that her husband didn't appreciate much of what she did around the house and that she's tired of doing anything alone and is tired of being a mother. The problem is that she literally does nothing. When their child was a few months old, she said that she was tired of having to take care of the housework and taking care of their son. My brother-in-law has a really good job where he makes a lot of money, so to help my sister, he hired a maid. Since then, my sister never had to deal with housework. Since then, up to today, they still have the maid to come and do the work. When my nephew was turning 1 year old, my sister told my brother-in-law that she was tired of being a mother and she needed time to herself sometimes. My brother-in-law has a good job, but it is also very demanding, so alongside with the maid, she also hired a babysitter for most of the days. The only time where the babysitter isn't with their son is when he comes home or the weekends when he doesn't work. When he comes home from work, he does the laundry, he is the one responsible for the cooking, and also the one responsible for taking care of their garden. Everything else is done by the maid. He is also the one responsible for getting my nephew to bed. My sister wanted to be a stay-at-home mother. When she and my brother-in-law discovered she was pregnant, she told him that she was being a stay-at-home mom or divorce. But now that she doesn't do anything in the house, or even need to take care of their son, she doesn't want to go back to work. Most of the time, she usually goes out with her girlfriends or watches Netflix. My brother-in-law was even worried that she might be depressed or something and tried to ask her to go to therapy, but she refuses. She believes it's degrading for a person. Apparently, their fight a few days ago was because my nephew's birthday is coming up, and she decided to make an invitation card for the celebration, but apparently she forgot my nephew's name. She and her husband got into a huge fight, and she ended up deciding to leave. After hearing their reason for the fight, and her telling us that he doesn't appreciate what she does, I ended up saying that in reality, she doesn't do much, and she wasn't a stay-at-home mom, and that she should appreciate that her husband has been putting up with all of this until now. She got angry at me, but my mother ended up being on my side. But I'm really feeling bad now that I'm thinking about what I've said. Reddit, am I the a-hole in this situation? Look, if you smell poop only in her direction, she's probably the one that stepped in it. Fortunately. The key here is you don't have an entire family brigading on you, sending flying monkeys your way left, right, and center to stop reality from hitting her in the face. She is in essence abusing her husband and refusing to be an adult and do adult things. You're confronting her with that reality, the one where she's basically just another child under this man, and he may as well be a single parent with the way things have been going. Not much to say about this one besides not the a-hole OP. In the comments, Nate Hatred says, "Not the a-hole, not even close. She's barely a mother at this point. Your sister sounds super entitled and detached from reality. She has it super good and complains about it. Going down this slope, she'll end up losing custody of the child, which I'm guessing would be a win in her book. So sad, to bring a child into the world without understanding the consequences. Exactly not the a-hole. You just stated how it is, and she didn't like it. How can you forget your own son's name? Shows how detached from reality she is." Yeah, I think her mental health may be significantly to blame for that one. I'm not a mental expert, but I know that mild dissociative disorder can result from depressive episodes, and especially with her husband suggesting therapy, it definitely seems like there's a valid reason and that he thinks she could really use it. My first thought exactly. Forgetting such basic, vital information might indicate an underlying mental disorder. When my dad was first time in the psychiatrist for undiagnosed bipolar disorder, he was asked the birth date of my sister, but he didn't remember. He's still feeling deeply ashamed of it after over 10 years. By the way, he's an excellent father, apart from the edges that comes with his situation. Not the a-hole. She needed to hear the truth about not appreciating what she has, but I feel like maybe she's dealing with depression. That's what I kept thinking as I was reading it, and then you said the husband suspects it. I had it very bad with my second child, and everything felt difficult or impossible. The little bit I could do felt world-changing. I would have your mum talk to her about the possibility of maybe her husband. My brother-in-law tried to talk to her about therapy, or at least visit a counselor, but she refused every single time. In her eyes, consulting any kind of doctor or anything alike for mental health is degrading to a person, in her words. Depression is a nasty thing, but shouldn't be used as an excuse to treat people badly or take advantage of them. If it's getting to a point where one's mental illness is affecting other people, they have to be willing to do something about the mental illness or be prepared for people to start pulling out of their life. Yes, it sucks, but they can't expect someone else to suffer because they're unwilling to get the help they need. Edit: if you want to help your sister, make it very clear to her that there's nothing wrong with going to therapy, counseling, or even taking medication if it goes that far. The stigma around mental health is bullcrap, and it's time we get past it. A lot of people attend therapy. Psychologists and psychiatrists have insights and coping mechanisms that one may not be able to get from talking to their friends and family. They are trained to deal with mental health. The brain is an organ, and it makes sense to see a doctor when that organ is acting up. Unfortunately, there's not much that can be done if she's either unwilling to see she has a problem or is unwilling to accept the help. Info: how in the hell can she forget her own son's name? I'm asking that myself. Their son doesn't even have a different name or anything. It's something along the lines of Mark, Dylan, like easy to remember. Did she forget to put the name on the card? Or straight up forgot the name? I thought it was crazy the former, but it would be crazy if it's the latter. She forgot how her son's name is. Let's say that his name goes around the likes of Alex. She put Jehonatan in the card. If my spouse did that, we would be heading to a doctor right away. Has she been forgetful otherwise? No, she hasn't been forgetful any other time. She is in fact the opposite. We always relied on her for some of our family birthdays and dates. She always had good memory. She was part of her high school theater club, and she always remembered pages and pages of lines without any problem. The situation took us by surprise. And now on to the update. Hello all. First of everything, I would like to thank all of you a lot for helping me to solve this situation, and of course to your attention to the situation itself. A lot of you told me that it wasn't normal for my sister to forget information that is common in your life, and it was very strange that my sister simply forgot my nephew's name. Both my mother and my brother-in-law decided to sit my sister down and talk to her while I took care of my nephew. We were worried about a possible postpartum depression, so we had to at least take our sister to a doctor. Basically, about my sister not wanting to see a therapist, apparently she was already seeing one, but didn't tell anybody, not even my brother-in-law. According to her, she told us that she started to have doubts about being a mother, but while she was pregnant she was over the moon about having a baby. But after my nephew was born, she started to think otherwise, so she decided to seek therapy, but she was ashamed of it because she thought that we wouldn't see her as a good mother, so she didn't tell us. But after some time, some of her friends started to talk to her about things that she only talked to the therapist about, and she found out that one of her friends was paying money to her therapist to get information about her. She was terrified that her friend was doing that and immediately dropped the therapy. This is the reason she didn't want to seek therapy when I tried to talk to her about it. She tried, and the therapist was giving other people information about her, so she didn't trust the mental health professionals anymore. After that, she lost some friends because they didn't like that she dropped the therapist just because he was giving them information and she didn't want to stop being friends with them. So the reason she was always going to friends' meetings was because she was trying to be friends with them again. They then got to the part about her recent memory problems, and she told us that she has been forgetting a lot of things lately. It took us some convincing, but we ended up convincing her to go see a doctor for that, and we're trying to convince her that not all health professionals are like that, and if the doctor recommends her to seek a counselor or therapist, to please try, but it will probably take us some time. She apologized for not trying to talk to us about it, and she promised to look for a doctor. And my brother-in-law decided to take some time off to go with her and to be at her side. My nephew will be staying with me and my mother for a time, so they can sort things out for a while. Well, this is it. Thank you Reddit for your help with my last post, mainly about asking my sister to go to a doctor. Please make sure to report that therapist. What he did was an ethics violation. But did the friends really pay the therapist, or could OP's sister be having some paranoid delusions as well? I really hope she gets the care she needs. Yeah, that was my read as well. I have a hard time imagining money changing hands to a professional therapist. I could see a bad therapist gossiping, but cash for details is really strange. I think it just points out how much real medical help is probably needed. Also, if the sister's memory is really slipping, she could have told the friends and forgotten about it. Get your sister to report the first therapist. Also, her so-called friends are creepy as hell and sound cultish. I'm betting that they were the ones who recommended said therapist in the first place. She'll be better off with one recommended from a real doctor. I'm pretty sure that didn't actually happen. It sounds more like a paranoid delusion of some kind. Don't know what I want it to be. A bad therapist or OP's sister having a mental breakdown. I'm glad that OP, her mother, and brother-in-law are figuring out that there is something going on with OP's sister and that all are doing their best to find the help that she needs. Damn. This is the first time an update has flipped my opinion so hard. What happened to your sister is screwed. I'm glad she's talking about all of this, and I hope she gets the help she needs. Right? Reading the first post, I was shocked and was wondering how she could be so apathetic about the help she was receiving from outside sources, and from her husband when he was home and annoyed that she wasn't seeking any medical help. But this update makes my heart break for her. I really hope she regains trust with medical professionals, and that things improve for her. G'day there guys, and that's the end of today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed it, and were entertained by today's bloody good content. As always, I want to do a quick shout out and a thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your beautiful faces and names will be up on screen right now. Haven't forgot about you guys, sorry I was taking a little break there. So yeah, if you see yourself, give yourself a pat on the back. If you want to be on this screen, there's links down to the description below where you can sign up and help support the channel and all future projects that I'm going to be doing on this one. With all that said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. I'll see you in the next episode, and I do hope you enjoy it. Thank you.